this illegal?
What isn't illegal in Hill Valley?
What if Citizen Brown's watching?
Don't worry, nobody can see us here.
He's a peeping Tom. Ah! Dad, try to warn your old man the next time, okay?
Then good on you, I say. Sure.
I saw Mom downtown. She told me to give this to you. Thanks. Say, what gives around here? You know, the usual. Keeping tabs on Hill Valley through my trusty bank of monitors. Always on the lookout for some interesting footage. Interesting? What do you mean interesting? What kind of silly question is that? I've been gathering candid documentary footage for Citizen Brown's promotional videos for over a year now. I know your mother doesn't approve of my work, but wait a minute. You say you saw Lorraine? 11 to 12 hair salon, 12 to 12:20 lunch at soup mo counter, cream of asparagus with crackers. What was that? You know your mother's problems. If she slips up again, it could mean demerits for the whole family. There she is, polishing the statue in the park. Just like the schedule dictates. Oh, then everything's fine. Good. Unless... How was she when you spoke to her? Lucid? Sober? What are you getting at? Jeez, I'm not gonna rat my own mom, even if she is a... Shh. I don't know for sure that your mother has relapsed into her old ways, but she's been acting very odd lately, almost as if she didn't like my constant supervision. Confidentially, I suspect she's got a flask hidden somewhere, probably very near the spot where she's working right now. Do me a favor, son, will you? See if you can worm the truth out of her. She won't confide in me, but she may be less guarded with you. Double rations this week if you help your old man out. What do you say? That's a good boy. Okay, Dad, we need to talk. What were you hiding when I came in just now? Hiding? I don't know what you're talking about, son. Come on, I saw it. It was a videotape, right? I might as well tell you. After all, you'll be 18 soon. Tell me what? Hill Valley under Citizen Brown is not quite the contented town you were led to believe it was. I don't believe it. This isn't a criticism of the great man himself, of course, or his sainted wife, Edna. No one's worked harder than they to apply the most advanced social planning techniques to our municipality. But... What? Confidentially, not everybody appreciates it. A great many citizens, perhaps even the majority, actively resent the Brown administration. They don't say so publicly, of course. But in private, well, just listen.
I tell you, Bert, this regime is a joke. They're all laughing at us over in Fairfax.
A toast to Citizen Brown. May his beloved courthouse be struck by lightning. Shh, Agnes, you're awful. Are you coming to the town square, Lester? Citizen Brown's about to give another speech.
Citizen Brown can kiss my hairy...
Well, you get the idea. It sounds like people can't stand what the Browns have done to Hill Valley. Not everyone. Only around 50%, maybe 60. Does Citizen Brown know? He should. Whenever I send copies of my raw footage to the Public Relations Department over at the courthouse, I get a memo telling me how much Citizen Brown thanks me for my service. But how could he see those videos and not do anything about it? Maybe you should take your tapes directly to Brown. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, sure, he might appreciate my bringing these problems to his attention and reward me for my public service, but then again, they say it's never wise to be the bearer of bad news. Why don't you give me those videotapes? I'll take them to Citizen Brown. Thanks for offering, son, but I don't want to get you involved. Citizen Brown won't like what he sees on them, and I wouldn't want you to get the brunt of his displeasure, not to mention the displeasure of all the folks on the tapes. Once they find out I recorded them, no, I'm not letting these tapes out of my sight. It's too dangerous. It's about someone we both know. Yes? What can you tell me about Edna? Mrs. Citizen Brown? Oh, she's a wonderful woman. People just think of her as this sweet, self-effacing grandmotherly type. Edna? Are we talking about the same... But really, she's just as involved in running the town as her husband is. Have you ever spent time with Citizen Brown? Well, of course I'm in the audience for every one of his public addresses. One-on-one, I mean. Oh, no. He'd never notice a common Sector L citizen like me. But I dream that someday he'll recognize me for my public service and maybe let me shake his hand. David and Linda. Have you heard from them? No, I thought maybe you had. Not in ages. As far as I know, he's still working for the big city newspaper, and she's still in that women's boarding house. I'll never understand why they decided to leave Hill Valley. Something on your mind? What's the deal with the house, Dad?
I don't know how to tell you this, son, but while you were away at your mathemagic competition, our house got slapped with a CZ36 violation.
What?
I know, it's so embarrassing. Your mother's mortified. She works so hard to keep a clean house, but those dust mites are so hard to keep down.
Wait a minute, we can't go into the house because of dust mites?
Well, not until they send in the cleanup crew.
This is ridiculous.
Thank goodness they let me move my office out here into the garage.
It's about Mom. How'd she get to be such a mess? This isn't how she is in my perfect world.
You're right, it's a real puzzle. Because of course we both know Hill Valley is a perfect world, but for some peculiar reason, the harder I try to get her to conform to the rules, the more she slips up.
She's thinking about signing up for the Citizen Plus program.
Is she now?
You're not gonna let her go through with it, are you?
Well, from what I hear, it's a fairly drastic procedure which completely reshapes the subject's personality. On the other hand, if Citizen Brown recommends it, it's gotta be a good thing. Something on your mind?
It's about me. I'm trying to understand why Jennifer broke up with me in this time. Recent past.
Are you still mooning over that girl? Forget her! She's bad news. Why, my surveillance cameras have caught her doing things that are completely against the Hill Valley Code.
I don't want to know.
Kissing boys. Sitting with boys in cars. I've kept quiet about it for her father's sake, but believe me, you're well rid of her.
Is there anywhere you expect me to be, like, right now?
Well, I did expect you to be up at the lake until tomorrow with that mathemagic competition, so I guess your time is pretty much your own right now.
Well, from certain things I've heard, I get the idea that people in this town regard Marty McFly as a what? A nerd.
They said that?
In so many words.
Just because a boy studies hard and gets straight A's and respects the rules and doesn't party or drink or stay out late and is perhaps a bit socially inept and obsessed with personal hygiene and prefers his rubber band collection
Stop. I really don't want to hear anymore.
I'm proud of you, son.
Well, I'll leave you to your snooping.
Supervising, son, supervising.
I'll leave you to it.
Right.
Another day in Hill Valley.
Hey, what's my guitar doing out here?
Your mother and I convinced you to give it up, remember? Rock and roll music is frowned on by the Brown administration. It sets a poor example for all the kids who look up to you as a model of studiousness and moral gravity. And besides, you're not very good.
Come on, Dad, I need that guitar.
Give me one good reason why I should give it back to you.
Because a certain girl is only gonna like me if I can play the guitar.
A certain girl? You don't mean...
Jennifer.
Oh, Martin. Why are you fixated on that little hellion? She's nothing but trouble.
Yeah, my kind of trouble.
And besides, the way you play guitar, you're only gonna drive her further Go ahead, son. Do your worst.
Thanks, Dad.
Good morning, Mrs. Brown. Please address me as Mrs.
Mom? Mom, are you drinking again?
Don't be silly, dear. Booze is illegal, you know.
Yeah, Mom. It's just that Dad mentioned...
Your father. Why, I just can't get away from his prying eyes. Always spying, always watching. You mind your own business, George.
Now, Lorraine, this is for your own good. I know you're keeping a secret from me.
It's mine to keep.
Dad! Mom! Knock it off, you two!
Now, you listen here, young man. This is an adult matter between your mother and me.
Dad, I know, but your way isn't working. You gotta give her some space here.
Huh? Where'd she go?
Mom?
Aha! I knew it. What is that in your hand? Rum? Gin? A wine cooler?
For your information, it's brass cleaner. I have a job to do here, you know.
So what's up with Dad?
Indeed. What is up with him?
That setup in his garage is pretty intense.
That's not the word I'd use. More like creepy.
I heard that.
Is it just me, or does Hill Valley feel really strict today?
Some might even call it stifling. But you didn't hear that from me.
I'm having a bad day, Mom. Can I ask you a few things?
We all have our share, son.
I saw Jennifer earlier today.
Oh, Jennifer. What a spunky gal. Are you two patching things up?
She totally blew me off.
Well, I'm not the world's biggest dating expert, seeing as how I married the first guy to fall from the sky. But maybe you should spend a little less time with your microscopes and ant farms, and a little more time tending to her needs. What kind of things is she passionate about, Martin? What are her interests?
I don't even know anymore.
You see,
Everyone is treating me like some sort of goody two-shoes, Mom.
they're just jealous that you're such a perfect citizen of Hill Valley.
Have I always been this way?
Always been a perfect little son. Going on 18 years now.
What about that time I set fire to the living room?
Oh, but you only did that so you could show us the fire retardant you made with your chemistry set.
Heavy.
What happened? What the heck am I looking at?
Yes! Mom, now that Dad isn't watching.
Oh, Martin.
Was that a flask, Mom?
Flask? Don't be ridiculous.
Look, it's okay, Mom. Get a hold of yourself.
Oh, your father's right. I'm backsliding. But it's been so hard, what with your brother and sister leaving, and then your father getting obsessed with his monitors, and
Let me take care of the flask. Dad doesn't have to know anything about it.
Oh, thank you, sweet.